Now, before everyone says this is just gonna be a Batman and Spider-Man channel from now on, listen, okay? Recently, I was watching some Spider-Man movies, and I I know that I have a series about hidden gems, and it just happened to be that the first one was Batman Rises in Sue. I react to situations as they happen, and it just so happens that I recently rewatched the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. And what I will say is that y'all, it's a hidden gem. I gotta tell you, it is not terrible. I, dare I say it's actually underrated. Now, when you get to the second one is awful. The second one I would not advocate for anybody to watch. But the first one, man, I don't get why people don't like it. I think it's slept on. I think it's underrated. So, my reasoning for that, firstly, is that I think when it comes to Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield is perfect. He's got the right amount of quippage. He's got the right amount of confidence and he just exudes Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Where I think Andrew Garfield fell flat for many people was him as Peter Parker. Now, personally, I never minded Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. Is he my favorite? No, it's Toby. But Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker isn't terrible. It's just not my favorite thing. But I think where this movie shines is they they basically gave Andrew Garfield a different type of direction from the Spider-Man that came before him and after him. His feels unique enough to the point that I feel like he earned the title of Spider-Man by the end of this movie. Now, at the start, it's about a vengeance quest after, Uncle Ben gets murdered. And he again, like every Spider-Man story, he could have stopped the person that killed his Uncle Ben. That's the core of the character. If they don't do that, I mean, listen, people like slob on Tom Holland's knob, but that didn't happen for him, bro. Tom Holland did not get the Spider-Man origin story. Now, you can make the argument he didn't need it. Okay, maybe not. But even so, homie did not get the Spider-Man origin story, whereas Andrew Garfield got one. And is it clunky? Sure, but he got one. And I think that if you're gonna show someone who's never read any of the comics a Spider-Man story, you should show them the Toby movies, but if you're not gonna show them that, show them this. Show them this. Show them this. I think that the Amazing Spider-Man 1 is it doesn't have the pomp or the pompous to get people like people aren't gonna be in awe after watching this movie, but it's a pretty solid movie. It's a pretty good story. And I think that the effects for 2012 are pretty they're pretty good. Now people say that the suit isn't good. And I don't like the suit either. Spider-Man should not have yellow lenses. His suit is too blue, if you know what I mean. And I gotta tell you, the Lizard as a villain does not fit for a mainline Spider-Man movie. But I think my favorite scene in the whole film, and this is maybe one of my favorite Spider-Man scenes ever in anything besides like the video games and one scene in the Toby films. But Spider-Man is fighting the Lizard on the bridge, and it's after he confronted him. There were these people that were trapped in their cars and they were floating above the water. And there was this one kid that Spider-Man went in to save, right? And the kid was terrified, rightfully so. Any kid would be uh terrified, right? So the kid is like freaking out. He doesn't trust Spider-Man because he's relatively new at at this point, and he's someone who like you would be scared if Spider-Man came to save you, right? But the thing that I love is that Peter even though he shouldn't reveal his identity, gives the kid his mask and tells him that it's gonna make him strong, and he's able to save the kid, and then after Peter sees that, they show a shot of him staring at his mask in the moonlight, and that's when he becomes Spider-Man. If they had just done the thing where, he, like, immediately became Spider-Man and immediately just learned with great power comes great responsibility, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it wouldn't have worked as well. At least I don't think. I think that it needed to happen in this way in order for Peter to this is a different version of Peter Parker. He needed to learn to become Spider-Man, and I'm fine with that in this instance. Now, for people that say that this is not a real Spider-Man story because he had to learn how to become Spider-Man, there's plenty of comic books where Peter neglects his responsibility for the first 45 pages and then in like the last 10 realizes that he has to have it, that he has to be a responsible person because that's what he was gifted his powers for was to protect the people. So, he's not I felt like it would have done this movie a disservice if he had just jumped into it right off of the bat. That didn't fit this Peter Parker. Really, any kid would want vengeance if you really think about it. Would you? If you had Spider-Man's powers and you saw your uncle die in front of you and you could have stopped the person who murdered him but didn't, would you really go out and like try to save people? No, you would go and get vengeance. That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Does it fit with Spider-Man? No, but because it was only done once, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. So, this movie is not, ruining Spider-Man. There's been a lot of people that have been scared to watch this film because it's not a true Spider-Man movie according to some people, but trust me, it is a true Spider-Man movie, and I recommend it to everyone. I think it's underrated. It's a 7 out of 10. It's a hidden gem. Go watch.